Welcome to Thoroughbred Network, and I'm your host, Hayley. I'm so eager to announce our first guest on our new segment, No Barriers. If you haven't had a chance to catch up, then please flick back to the previous episode to hear about the drive behind launching the No Barriers segment to the podcast. Our first guest on No Barriers is Alix Turpin. She manages sales and marketing in the Annabelle Neasham stable. We talk about her career path from PR and marketing in London to a global tech company in Australia before arriving at Coolmore Stud in the Hunter Valley. Alix fell in love with horses through show jumping and now finds herself in one of Sydney's most progressive stables. She's been able to combine her education in horses to find herself a career within her industry. I hope you enjoy Alix's journey so far. Okay, this week we're joined by Alix Turpin from the Annabelle Neasham Racing Stable. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Alix, you've got quite an interesting role here, actually, which is almost a new role within racing. What is your role at Annabelle Neasham Racing?
Yeah, so day-to-day, probably sales and marketing predominantly. I think being a new business and sort of starting out over the first 12 months, it's been a little bit more than that and jumping into different areas as and when it's needed, but it's quite good. You know, it gives a lot of excitement.
So we might actually just go back a little bit to the start, because you've not ever been involved in the racing industry, but you have been involved with horses before.
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, horse mad, absolutely horse mad. Mum and dad just couldn't sort of understand where it came from, but I was just always desperate to have ponies as a child. Got my first pony when I was 4 and then continued all the way up till I was about 19, sort of competed quite heavily in show jumping all the way through. So yeah, horses were a huge part of my life, but never really thought that I would work with horses. Sort of, I hung everything up when I went to go to uni and thought that would be it. And now here I am again with them. Yeah, back with them. So
what did you study at uni?
So I did sports science. So I was always sort of quite very sporty, and rowing was predominantly my other sport. So I was, at school, I was sort of managing show jumping and rowing together. So it was two kind of different sports to be doing. But they were great. But I had to sort of choose one or the other, and I went with the rowing just because it was probably less expensive.
I was just about to say.
For mum and dad.
Is it less expensive?
Yeah. I mean, all you need is a boat and the water. So, so when I went to uni, I studied sports science, and I actually worked as a rowing coach for 3 years at one of the girls' schools in Oxford, and sort of had left show jumping there when I was 19.
That was it. We didn't see horses for quite some time.
No, not at all. and hadn't really considered getting back on board or anything. And I think I was always very competitive. So, a friend saying, "Oh, do you want to come and hack out my horse with me?" It just didn't really, I was like, "Oh, thanks, but no thanks." If it was going to be a competition, then probably I would have said yes. But
yeah. And so then you grew up in the countryside?
Yeah, in Hampshire in the UK.
And then you sort of made your way to London.
Yeah.
What did you do in London?
So as I said, I was at uni and had been working at this school, and they said, do you want a position as a full-time PE teacher? And I was umming and ahhing about it, and I wasn't fully convinced as what I wanted to do. So I thought a lot of my friends had moved to London. It sort of seemed to be the done thing. So I thought I'd be a sheep and follow the crowd. And I ended up doing a 3-month unpaid internship for a PR agency. And that just sort of gave me an introduction into the PR and marketing world. And they then offered me a full-time job at the end of that internship, which I then took. So I stayed with that agency for just over 3 years.
Okay, amazing. That's actually such an interesting field to be in, and especially in the heart of London. You would have been spoilt for choice.
No, it was good. London's a great city, and sort of I think going straight from uni into London with most of my uni friends, it didn't really feel like we'd left. But no, it was great. I loved working there for that time, but I sort of, when I made the decision to move to Australia, I'd never lived overseas. I was always quite keen to go to somewhere like Australia. So London sort of did its period for me. And then I thought, I'm going to go and try something else now.
What attracted you to Australia? Out of everywhere in the world, why did you think Australia?
Yeah, well, I think Australia obviously has a very big reputation for being very sporty, outdoorsy. The sun, I think, helps a lot, but definitely sort of the sport, and outdoorsiness of it was always attractive for me. My brother had spent a lot of time in Australia, and he'd always said it's great. You should go and do a stint over there. So yeah,
you came out here.
Yeah.
So did you come out here specifically to travel or to work?
I'll probably say what every British person says now, but sort of came over thinking that I'd do a 6-month stint, probably work a little bit on the side and then see what happens. So yeah, initially came over without a job, based myself in Sydney, lived with a friend who I knew from the UK, and just saw what happened. And yeah, I'm 2 years in and haven't really considered going home. So as everyone says, I think that's Annabelle's story as well.
I know this story well.
Yeah.
So you've sort of came in, you've came to Australia, you've got a bit settled, and you've decided you're going to extend your stay.
Yeah.
And so you had to complete your farm work.
Yeah.
So how did you go about getting in contact with Coolmore?
So I had a friend who was in the UK who actually did a stint over here working for Gay. She was one of her track work riders for a couple of months. I sent her a message and I said, look, I need to get my farm work sorted. Makes sense for me to do it with horses. I can ride, albeit I hadn't ridden for a good couple of years, but I thought I can just pick it up again. And she said, try Godolphin or Coolmore. So I emailed them both. And it was sort of just as we were going into the first lockdown. So I think it was like March or something. So it was a bit of a funny time for everyone and no one was really sure what was going on. But Coolmore very luckily, took me in and said, yep, you can have a job with us doing, helping out with the breaking in. And so, yeah, I feel like I landed on my feet because I was leaving the city at the perfect time when everyone was going into lockdown and I was,
heading off.
Yeah, skipping
into the
through the fields and yeah.
So you spent 6 months at Coolmore. So how did your role evolve there?
Yeah, so I started off doing the breaking in. So they break in, quite a few of their own horses plus a couple of others. And I'd done a bit of breaking beforehand in the UK, but not sort of in a structured sense in the way they do it. So it was great. It was amazing to be working with, the caliber of thoroughbreds that I was. And also just to learn a lot more about the Australian racing side of it and the breeding that I had absolutely no idea about. So yeah, it was good. That
was basically your first taste of the thoroughbred industry.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts at the end of this?
I mean, I think I was very shocked at sort of how lucrative the industry is over here. Especially, a beautiful farm like Coolmore and the stallions that they've got on the farm. I think I was sort of eyes open, but I thought, wow, this is quite cool.
This is an industry for me. So, you've done your first 6 months at one of the best nurseries that Australia has to offer, with the most gorgeous breeding and amazing horses. So at this point, how were you thinking about where you were going to go now? Like, was PR and marketing still in the back of your head, or were you starting to look at horses again now? Like, how did that evolve?
Yeah, I think where I'd spent that time in London and I was quite client facing, I was always keen to get back into doing something that was a bit more client facing. As much as I do love the horse side of it and, definitely riding out, and that's something I really enjoy, but I definitely get a kick out of being client facing. So I just had started putting feelers about just to see, coming back to Sydney, what could be around that was a bit more, using my experience that I had, the PR and marketing side and what I could maybe do to combine the two. So someone then put me in touch with Annabelle and sort of said, perhaps have a chat with her. She's just starting up. She could do with, a hand on that side of things. And initially I was just going to do, I think, a bit of marketing, maybe, ride a couple of morning and that's how it was going to start. And it's evolved quite a lot since then, but all for the good.
Yeah, like it is a newer role. Like, I think when you think of a racing stable, a lot of the staff are heavy orientated with the horses.
Yeah.
They obviously have offices, but I don't really think it comes to the forefront of people's minds when they think of the thoroughbred racing industry.
Yeah.
So I think Annabelle coming up in the training ranks, she's a young up and coming female who's kicked every goal that's been presented to her. But I think it's so refreshing to see her flesh out a really good competitive team that look after all aspects of the business, really.
Yeah.
Were you aware that this was a role within the industry?
No, I had absolutely no idea. I mean, as businesses can always be marketed well, so I always thought, marketing could be a good one to do, but the sales side of it, not really. And, I'd sort of come in, obviously not having a bloodstock background, and I thought, oh, how am I going to go selling horses? But I think being around, Annabelle so much, I've managed to pick it up quite well from her. And I just, ask her as many questions as I want. So, yeah, I definitely had no idea about the sales side of it, and, that was a part of the business, really.
So you've departed Coolmore and you've arrived in Sydney with Annabelle.
Yeah.
What was day one like?
We actually came to the ready to run sales here on the first day, and I was so shocked. I'd been to the Magic Millions with, representing Coolmore, taking, their yearlings there, but I don't think I really sort of appreciated how heavily involved the trainers were from their buying aspect. And then, that it was their full responsibility to then sell down these horses. And I don't know, I think I'd always maybe just presumed that it was syndication companies doing that or something. So it was great. Yeah, it was great to sort of see that was, a whole area that I had no idea about. And yeah, it was good.
That must have been so refreshing for you. I just feel like someone with your skill set must have been looking at this going, this is fun.
Yeah, I actually remember sort of getting home on my first day, and I remember calling my parents thinking, yeah, this is really cool. I had a bit of like fire in my belly and thought, this is good.
So how long have you been with Annabelle now?
So just over 12 months.
Okay. How much has the role changed in that 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a lot. I think as, obviously when I started with Annabelle, she would have had, around 20, 30 horses in work. And, that number's obviously increased quite a lot. Obviously the media attention that she's generated just from, how she is as a trainer and her results, that's something else that, I've been kind of, she does all of that side of it herself, but it's something that I've been able to sort of share with her too. And yeah, just sort of building up a client basis and, existing clients and even new clients coming into the stable sort of today and tomorrow. Yeah, it's been very fun. What would
your daily routine be like? How would a Monday go for you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it completely varies. Annabelle's very good. She very much lets me sort of I don't want to say do what I want, but, she sort of lets me mold my day as to what I need to do. So, if I say I'm going to come into track work and film a couple of gallops, yep, that's fine. If I say I want to go and meet this client, she's like, yep, that's fine. So I'm quite lucky that the role is very flexible. And I also think, I remember Annabelle saying this to me, that no day will ever be the same. And it really, really isn't.
It's not racing. It doesn't have a book, does it? That said we should be doing this on a Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. And, I speak to some of my friends in other industries and they all say, oh my gosh, this sounds so amazing. And, it's not sort of, you're not in this set rigid structure of what each day looks like. And it's I'd almost say it sort of doesn't really feel like work.
It's lucky.
Yeah, I know.
No, I understand that because the industry it's so unique, and a lot of the times people that watch it, they see it on a Saturday and then they wait for the following Saturday.
Yeah.
But there's so much more depth from, as you say, like when you first came onto the sales complex, seeing us purchasing horses, which are now racing and winning Group 1s and are now a big part of this success. So it must have been so refreshing to come to work for someone like Annabelle, who's so open.
Yeah.
And wanted a team that she could teach, but she could also grow with.
Yeah, she's also quite good, and I think she always says this is how sort of Kieran helped her, just sort of give them the responsibility, and they'll sink or swim basically. But I think that's the best way to learn. You definitely, and knowing that you've got the support there to ask. Annabelle and Todd, like, I can just pick their brains all the time. They might find that a bit annoying, but
So we're based here at Warwick Farm. Is this where the main office would be? Would everyone be in there at the one point?
Yeah.
At some point?
Yeah.
Whether it's in the day or the week or...
Yeah. No, definitely. So there's Annabelle, Todd, our assistant, Brian, who's a little bit more sort of, in and out of the office because he's sort of, out inspecting and things. He's the bloodstock manager, myself, and then we have Talia, who's our office manager.
Okay. And what about Annabelle's wee dog?
Morris. Yeah. Oh God, me and Morris have a bit of a love-hate relationship. I'm either screaming at him because he's chewing something,
I see him everywhere, and he does not look safe at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's definitely become part of the team, but I think me and Todd sometimes get a little bit frustrated with him, and then he just looks at me with that cute face, and I'm like, oh God, sorry, Morris, I didn't mean it.
Being realistic, you've probably had a really big year this year.
Yeah, massive.
I mean, Annabelle's been so successful.
Yeah.
And it's been so great to see, because I feel like racing can give you so many opportunities. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. But Annabelle has managed to curate this team that she's got and to utilize it to the best of her ability by knocking goals right, left and centre. So for you, with sales and marketing and communications, I'm tipping that it just hasn't stopped.
No, not at all. And you've almost sort of had this blank canvas at the start that's now really sort of evolved into something. And it's a real sort of talking point for people. But it's nice, over the past sort of year, being able to sort of get a bit more of a brand as such, and build a bit more of a business model on that.
Yep.
So no, it's been good, and gosh, the results she's got have only been beneficial. Made my job, doing marketing and sales a million times easier.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. That's what they all say. It's really easy. Yeah. So you would sort of be in the office. Do you write any track work?
I mean, I do. At the moment, we're sort of, we've got a great team of riders and stuff. So, I'll jump in if needed, but I tend to sort of step back from that at the moment.
But we do get to see you riding at the beach.
Yes, yeah, always ride at the beach on a Wednesday morning. So
this is quite a big part of Annabelle's training. How important do you think that is for their horses?
Oh, yeah, really important. I didn't realise sort of how much of a part of the routine it was, but I think just seeing them, and I know Annabelle does it a lot for sort of the physical benefits, but I think I know we all see the rewards of the mental benefits as well, taking them away from home in the truck when they're not going to the races, but they're going to quite a relaxing environment. It's really good for them.
That must be so good, especially
it's good for us as well.
I was going to say, like, you get out of the office and it's quite a nice view. I mean, the beach that we're talking about is literally right next to the airport. Yeah. So there's planes and everything going on, but it's quite a unique little bit of paradise to take them to on a Wednesday morning.
Oh no, it is. It's it's amazing. I've sent a photo home to a friend from home before, and there's a plane sort of landing in the background, and I'm just riding, in the water in one of these horses. And she's like, "What are you doing?" So this is my job.
This is Australia. Yeah. This is what we do here.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm so delighted for you to be able to come into our industry and use these skill sets that you have, because sometimes, especially for trainers, like they're training horses, and their horses and the welfare is number one with us, and so we're clients. So we don't always get the time to talk about within our industry. But I'm so excited for someone like you to come in and be able to showcase what's going on in stables and getting new people into racing and just having a little bit of a new era about it. Like we're starting to change. Would you do you see yourself staying in this industry for a long time?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think it's funny where I had sort of that experience with horses growing up, and then sort of combining more of my, previous experience. I've sort of found this niche that I just love and, really enjoy. And as I said earlier, it doesn't really feel like work.
Yeah.
And something I find really rewarding is, speaking to new clients on the phone who haven't been involved in a racehorse, but, they watch it on the TV on a Saturday and they want to sort of find a way to get more connected to the industry, and sort of giving them that path and that journey through and how they can be a part of it. That's something I really, really enjoy and, have found rewarding.
It's quite unique.
Yeah.
It's a unique thing that you're essentially selling, but you're advertising. You're saying,